Hello and welcome to A Current Affair on this Thursday night. We're all so conscious of terrorism these days, but where do we draw the line? An 11-year-old schoolgirl who wrote a prize-winning essay about a suicide bomber now finds herself accused of glorifying terrorists.
To truly show the world what it means to be a Muslim, I released the catch of dynamite strapped to my chest.
Also tonight, the policeman in hot water for getting hypnotised and performing like this in public. Is it a fair cop? Plus, how to make huge savings on your mobile phone bills and what Australians really think and do when it comes to love, sex and marriage. And first up tonight, the schoolgirl who sparked a political debate over terrorism. The 11-year-old won a council-run competition for young writers with her story about the war in Iraq. Now she's being accused of supporting suicide bombings. And the judge who gave her the prize is also under fire. He's been accused of trying to make an anti-American statement.
I can understand why it's so controversial. I can understand why some people may get offended by it, but it was never intended to be offensive. Now, destroyed homes, destroyed families, no peace, no hope. Night falls like a dark cloak around us. It is so scary. Ma, get out, orders the American. Clutching Kasim, I jump out of the truck. Where are your papers? Who are you travelling with?
She's only 11, but today this primary school girl is being branded a terrorist sympathiser.
It glorifies suicide bombing, in my view, and acts of terrorism, and I think that's something that many of us would find abhorrent.
Saihini Naidoo's short story, called The Power of War, graphically tells the plight of a 12-year-old Muslim girl and her brother in Iraq. After they see their parents killed during the war, she becomes a suicide bomber.
They've hopped in the back of a truck and they've slept there, and then the American soldiers actually find them and tell them to get out. And so at the end, the young girl ends up blowing herself up.
I think a lot of people in the community have found this story disturbing, particularly that it's written by an 11-year-old.
Saihini Naidoo's story has just won a local government literary award in Melbourne, but it's outraged members of her council. Councillor Paul Donovan believes it promotes terrorism.
It's definitely, at the least, anti-American. It's certainly, to an extent, glorifies suicide bombing, which is unfortunate and I don't think acceptable.
Why did you want to write a story about suicide bombers?
Because at the time that I wrote it, there was a lot of media coverage on the war in Iraq, and it just shows the pain and the suffering and the devastation of young Afghani and Iraqi children and families who are there during the war.
Does your story glorify suicide bombers?
It just shows the devastation of the person or the country. And so the suicide bombers would obviously have nothing to live for, so again, they have to result in drastic measures.
I don't believe she's glorifying it. If you asked me as to whether she might be highlighting it, I might say yes, she might be highlighting, but certainly not glorifying it.
Saihini's parents, Nessun and Saria, are proud of their daughter's work.
The days of Alice in Wonderland and the Seven Dwarfs and Snow White are far gone, in a sense that my child chooses to let her expression mirror reality today, and that's something we won't stymie, we won't stop that. If that's the way she feels and if that's the way she wants to send her message to the world, I think it's something we would encourage.
To American soldiers, the enemy, the destroyers, to say that they are here to save us. I hate the Americans and what they have done to my country and my people.
I think that if the judges chose this story to win because of the potential anti-American statement within the story, then that would be wrong in my view.
Councillor Donovan claims the judges of the writing competition chose the story to make a political statement.
Because of its political overtones, it could have been chosen because of its political message.
Do you have any evidence of that?
No, I don't.
It was nothing to do with politics. It was all to do with the craft and how well she executed it on the page. She could have written about, like I said, worms, and it would have been still a potent piece of writing.
Young fiction author Scott Gardner was the judge of the competition, which Councillor Donovan now wants censored.
I think young people should express their political views and they should feel free to do so. However, I don't think short stories should be used as a means to promote a particular political point of view.
You're 11 years old, why don't you want to write about happy things?
That's a good question. Because I believe in reality. Things need to be realistic, and no amount of hiding away and pretending that war's not there is going to make it go away, because it is indeed a fact. And I want to let other people know how grateful we should be, because war is indeed a fact and we can't change that.
Yeah, Ben McCormick, that story, obviously a very bright little girl. For the record, Saihini is not a Muslim, she's a follower of the Hindu faith. Not that that should make any difference. I guess it's no surprise she wants to be a journalist or a human rights lawyer when she grows up. All right, cop this for a very different policeman. The dancing constable in this